Hard to believe, but it is actually 75 years since the most iconic cat and mouse duo came onto our screens, in terms of cartoon duos, that is. Tom and Jerry, I'm referring to, of course. And today we're looking at the collector's box set, volumes 1 to 7, which you'll have already seen this cover in the intro. It's 6 volumes. And just to give you an idea of how much value you're actually getting, I'll give you a close-up of the sleeve and the discs in a moment. But just reading from the blurb on the back, in feature runtime, it's nearly 890 minutes. That gives you an indication of just how much enjoyment there is on here. Every moment of Tom being hit by irons, thrown into fridges of food, his head turning into bowling balls, Jerry getting basically the upper hand on him the whole time. And there's not only, of course, the rivalry between the two main protagonists themselves, we've also got other secondary characters that become equally as popular. Spike the dog and his little son, and every time that Tom disturbs his son sleeping, or if they're having a private barbecue and Spike threatens him, then you will pretty much guarantee that Jerry will do anything to make Tom get into as much trouble as possible. There's also the housekeeper that we often see. We see her from the viewpoint of Tom and Jerry themselves, which means you never see above her many skirts. And I think she had either a Jamaican or possibly South American sort of accent. I think it was Jamaican, but if you know better, perhaps you can correct me on that. But she was forever shooing Tom out of the house if he was getting into trouble, threatening to ban him actually out of the house quite often. And Jerry was always getting the upper hand. Not on every occasion did Tom fare so badly. He'd often have, shall we say, lady cats around his place. He'd be throwing parties or serenading them, and you'd see Jerry in his little mouse hole with his blanket, unable to sleep. So he'd try and get his own back in many ways that way. The cartoons were brought to us by producer Fred Crimby. They actually started in the 40s and 50s. The first 2 volumes concentrate on Fred's work with the older cartoons, and then producers Hanna-Barbera, who you will also, no doubt, some of you remember from other cartoon favourites, such as Scooby-Doo, the Flintstones, and Wacky Races, Dastardly and Muttley, cartoons of that ilk. They came on board and produced a lot of Tom and Jerry cartoons as well. So the first 2 volumes concentrate on their stuff. We get some of the later cartoons following on from that. Now, if there are any negatives, and they are few because these cartoons are absolutely brilliant. Unfortunately, we don't get commentaries from any of the producers, writers, or animators. I would have absolutely loved that, especially the whole thing of hearing the directors and producers watch the cartoons back with you, hear them laughing on certain scenes, and telling stories about how they got ideas for certain situations. That would have been absolutely fantastic. So there's no commentaries or anything of that kind. You get 6 discs. They are double-sided as well, as you'll see from the photos during the video. And with them being double-sided, there's no picture labelling, as you can see from the photos, which also means that instead what you've got is very small print in the middle of the discs, which makes it very difficult to see what number of volume you are in fact putting into your player before you watch them. There are a number of copyright warnings at the start of each disc in various languages to cover just about everywhere in the world. You can't skip these, unfortunately, so that's something to bear in mind if you want to just pop a DVD in with your kids and watch cartoons straight away. You can't do that, not instantly. It's between 6 or 12 minutes of copyright warnings, and you can't skip them, unfortunately. So that's a bit of a downside. But as I say, on the value front, discs 2 and 3 alone contain 58 cartoon shorts, and you're getting 6 here. So the sheer magnitude of value on this set is totally astounding. It's certainly brought back a lot of memories for me. Childhood, how they would suddenly appear on the telly on Sunday lunchtimes or Saturday lunchtimes as filler, and of course people that remember going to the old Saturday morning picture shows in their childhood. These would often be on amongst the Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies cartoons of Warner Brothers before the main features, whichever ones that you saw. Absolutely fantastic value sets. I will be covering other cartoon classic sets, particularly the Warner Brothers ones, in future videos. But if you love good old-fashioned slapstick cartoon comedy violence that will just make you laugh with absolutely roaring laughter, whether you're 8 or 80, and even if you're not old enough to remember Tom and Jerry the first time round, absolute classics, well worth getting. And if you're old enough to remember them from the past, then you'll absolutely love it. It'll bring back some fantastic memories. But anyway, that's my review of Tom and Jerry, the complete collector's edition, volumes 1 to 6, from producer Fred Quimby. Hope you enjoyed watching the video, and I'll be back very soon.